Welcome back everybody, and yes, we have got another really clean shiny trailer. How many of these have we replaced, guys? Come on. I know I've seen loads and loads and loads of these saddles bust the old shock bolt off, as you can see there, flapping around in the wind like an England flag. So we better do something about that. We can't leave that one like that. So just going to make sure we have a new saddle in stock first, and make sure it's the right side because they are handed. And luckily we do. Right, so I'm going to get cracking, and God was kind to me on this one. I managed to jack the suspension right up in the air and then put the pit jack underneath the Moffat bars at the back, lift the trailer up in the air, give me plenty of room to get the 3/4 gun in there, and the U-bolts come undone really easily, which was quite surprising. I was expecting them to snap or seize, and I was just going to cut them off anyway, but yeah, they came out. Worst thing about these U-bolts is the collets that sit underneath the nuts on the top. They seem to get a bit tight in there, a bit rusty, but as you'll see later, these will go back with oodles and oodles and oodles and oodles of grease. There is the offending culprit. It's been on the way out for a while, as you can see from the rusty marks, but it's really important, guys. I've seen so many of these axles now where that square plate, locating plate in the middle, is completely worn away and the saddle doesn't sit in the correct place on the axle. There are repair kits for these, and it's quite an easy job just to weld a new one on. Little tip for you guys, I always knock my U-bolts out with a copper hammer, just saves you damaging the threads. As you can see, I absolutely hammered them out of there and the nuts go straight back on. So we're going to get them under the wire wheel, give them a damn good clean up, make sure they're nice and shiny, and like I said before, cover them with shed loads of grease. And just to get the last bit of the bolt out of the shock here, I've checked this shock and there's no free play in it. It's not knackered, so we're going to reuse it. So I'm just going to grind the end of the bolt off and then hammer it out, provided it's not seized in the bush, because these haven't seen any grease. So we're going to give that a bit of a clean up. Really important, guys. I've seen so many of these U-bolts come loose. Really important to clean all the surfaces up, make sure that you have got good mating surfaces, and then we can get everything greased, everything cleaned, and just helps. Same with your wheels, guys, you know, clean the surfaces, then you know that when you've torqued them up they're going to stay tight. So there you go. As you can see, we're just getting the U-bolts back in there now. A little bit fiddly just to get the collets back on. Ideally I could have done with some new ones, but we don't have any in stock, so I'm just going to bang the old nuts back on. U-bolts in, jobs are good, and get that old shock back on there, and just get everything tightened up with a 3/4 gun as much as possible on these U-bolts. And as you can see there, guys, there is a bit of soul destroying workout going on here. And yes, as you saw on the cover page at the start, I was using my abs as well. Look, there's a spare wheel carrier at the back here for the Moffat wheel, so I was just literally using both arms on that and cranking that home 700 Newton meters, and jobs are good. And as you can see, guys, everything's greased, loads and loads and loads of grease, everything's torqued, and everything's ready to go. So we're going to give it a good run up the road and back, then we're going to get it back in and give it a retorque just to double check, because like I say, you see no end of these coming loose, so everything's good. Happy days. We can get this one sent in, guys. Another good job. Oh, mustn't forget as well, just need to set the ride height back to where it should be. Came in was a little bit high.